The Press Box is your go-to for pre- and post-game all football season if you're going to check out the Griz. The Press Box is right next to the walking bridge adjacent to the University of Montana campus, and they have some of the best selection of beers on tap. They got awesome food. If you need a place to gather pre- or post-game before Griz football games, head to the official headquarters of Griz Athletics. Griz football season is here, so don't miss any of the action. The Press Box, Missoula's finest sports bar and the official headquarters of Grizzly Athletics. ESPN Roundtable time, a little late night edition of the ESPN Roundtable, joined by, it's funny because we're going to stop defining him as just a former Griz and former NFL player soon, because now he's the color commentator for Scripps Sports for a variety of Big Sky Conference games, a lot of them involving the Montana Grizzlies. But Jordan Tripp, our guest here on the ESPN Roundtable. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Good man, good late night session. I'm glad we could connect. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun season from a different angle, and definitely looking forward to it.
Well, it's funny because you've been on the show several times, mostly just telling memories about, the good old days or your time with the Grizz or your time in the NFL. But now you have this new role that's sort of landed at your feet. So just take people through. I think people know the news that you're going to be on the calls for most of the Grizz games and a bunch of Big Sky Conference games for Scripps Sports. But how did this all come about, and what do you think of just sort of this new opportunity?
Well, it came about because the associate commissioner for the Big Sky Conference reached out to me and he said, "Hey, would you mind me throwing your name in the hat for this deal?" And I didn't even think of it, and so I said, "Shoot, why not?" And then I talked to Scripps Sports and went through the interview process with a few different people, that I knew that were in on it, and my wife and I talked about it, and we said, why not? It's a way to be connected without coaching, and that's something I always wanted to do, but just knew that wasn't fitting for me. And so I always thought that this could kind of be interesting, but I never pursued it. Well, I get the call and go through the interview process, and they said, "Hey, it's yours if you want it. We like your interview." So I said, "Well, all right, let's do it." And that's kind of how it happened. It was kind of a bang bang deal, probably not more than 60 days ago. And so I've been going through a lot of training and preparation, and I got a broadcast partner in the booth in Trey Bender, who's incredibly experienced. You and I were just talking about how great he is and how tenured he is. So he's going to help a lot and has helped a lot. And just getting ready to go for this first one this weekend.
Did you said you had sort of interest in being reconnected to the game. Did you ever think you were going to get into the broadcasting realm? Is that something you wanted to do?
Not a chance. It didn't even cross my mind, to be honest. It was one of those things where, you watch games on, well, just call it game day now. I mean, football's on 5 out of the 7 days a week, and
Right.
there's various analysts who are ex-players, and you always enjoy listening to certain analysts, regardless of who's playing ball, just to hear their side of it and what they're looking at. And I never thought I'd be one of them. And to be completely honest, it's actually kind of fun. I get to sit back and watch tape and break down opponents and make notes and get up into the booth and talk about football without having to put a headset on down on the field or to the guys next door to me. So, and I just get to talk about it. And after the game, I can go see my family and hang out and go do it all over again the following week.
The preparation part is interesting though, but I feel like, having been a high level football player, All-American in college, played in the NFL, that probably makes some of the prep stuff not as daunting, right? I mean, you know how to watch film. You could probably do it pretty efficiently, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. I mean, there's always things that you could work on. Being able to sit down for a few hours, a couple times a week on each team and look at, personnel, what they like to do, and then hopefully be able to pick and choose a few things to take to the broadcast so that the viewers can see it or maybe tell them what to look for, so we can make it interesting. I think having played with multiple coordinators in college and multiple coordinators in the NFL has helped me look at and understanding different schemes and being able to talk about that and kind of identify what's going on the field. If I'm, you know, talking about the offense or talking about the defense, it kind of helps me, I think, relay a little bit of information and bring something to the broadcast that could be unique.
who would have thought, back in 2012, say you and Ty Gregorak would both be the color commentators, for Scripps Sports, right? Crazy, crazy how life evolves.
Never would have, yeah, never would have guessed that. I mean, you could ask him, and we were, he was my coordinator at that time, and if you would have asked both of us, we would have lauged, man.
Well, I mean,
But
that's
it's
that's a
fun.
great
We keep
resource for
talking
you, though,
about it.
right? Because I mean, Ty has settled
He
into the
is.
gig great. I mean, he's doing an awesome job.
He's doing a great job, and so much of it is understanding. You know, I just think how to talk, what to talk about, your cadence, and so many different things that is just. I mean, you're there, you're being authentic, and you're talking about ball. You're talking about ball like if you and I were sitting down and having a beer talking about ball. And that's what it's all about. And I think that Ty and Ben do a great job. I watched Trey. He's phenomenal at it. And I just really hope that I can add something to the broadcast that the viewers really enjoy on game day.
Thanks so much for listening to our Big Sky Breakdown podcast series and for tuning into our Skyline Sports YouTube channel. If you have not, please rate, review, and subscribe. Particularly subscribe. Click on the subscribe button. That helps us out a ton. Thanks to our great partners who help make all of this content possible, including Ty Hobbs at Keller Williams Real Estate. Ty's a great friend of mine, guy I lift weights with in the mornings, and a guy I golf with as much as I can, but he's also an ace realtor. I did not choose him as my realtor because he's my friend, although that was a big perk. He is excellent when it comes to everything from efficiency to negotiation to no frills, no BS. He got our house on the market and got it sold in less than 24 hours, more like 4 hours. It was an impressive turnaround. He got us exactly the contract that we wanted. We needed to stay in our house for a couple months because we had a new build coming up. He negotiated that flawlessly. The negotiation part is the number one reason why we chose Ty, but he also has a great acumen when it comes to construction, building, remodels. We had a flood in our house that I needed help with repairing. Boom. He helped me out. Awesome service, awesome job. And if you're in the market for a realtor, Ty Hobbs is your guy. Let's hear more about the current real estate market from the man himself. So let's start with, how would you characterize the real estate market currently in both Missoula and Western Montana?
Well, currently in Missoula, we've seen a rise in inventory and buyer activity slow down a little bit. So it's turning more into a buyer's market, more than I've probably ever seen in the last 10 years or so.
So what does that mean, a buyer's market? How would you define that?
A buyer's market is really just means that there's more homes for sale than there are buyer demand. So buyers have choices, especially in negotiations.
And that means less leverage for somebody that's selling their house, more leverage for somebody that's tried to buy a house, correct?
Correct. More leverage for buyers.
Okay, so if you are a buyer and you hire you as your realtor, how do you go about then sort of taking advantage of that said advantage?
Well, right now you have the upper hand in negotiations, right? And first we start with the CMA and get a value and see where that price falls in, or where the value is for the buyers. And then there's other things that we can negotiate, such as like seller concessions to help buy down the interest rate or give you a temporary break or relief on an interest rate to help with that monthly payment, so to speak.
So if you want to find out about that and other listings that you have, how do they find them?
Best way is just get a hold of me by phone, 406-544-9794.
Jordan Tripp joining us here on Nuanez Now. ESPN Radio is our ESPN Roundtable, proudly presented by Stockman Bank of Montana. Let Stockman Bank show you Montana's brand of banking. You mentioned Trey. Interesting, the very first time I ever met Trey was at, actually, unfortunately, the last college game of your career, which was one of the craziest Griz games in history, right? I mean, it's the coldest Griz game in Washington Grizzly Stadium history. This upstart team that nobody had heard of came in and pulled one of the biggest upsets ever. But he was on the call for that. That's sort of a weird, serendipitous. You wrap back around and now you're working with this guy, right?
Yeah, it was. I just remember Trey and I first met in person that that we had talked about that game, and I was like, man, I want to say that I haven't thought about that game, but I think about that game all the damn
I mean,
time.
I'm sure, right?
It's terrible. I mean, yeah, it was it was -11 at kick, and I don't even know what the wind chill was. Guys' helmets were popping, balls were popping, and this team from the Carolinas, where it was 80 something degrees when they took off and landed here, and I just remember the first series was 3 and out. I think I had a sack on third down, and we were like, this is going to be awesome. We're going to rout these dudes. And then the next series, it was third and short. We went zero pressure, just blitz 6, and they threw it to Matt Hazel, who actually ended up playing for Miami, and he caught a go route for like 85. Next series, Lorenzo Taliaferro, who got drafted in the fourth round of the Ravens, who had a long NFL career, rest in peace. He tragically passed away with a heart condition, and both of those guys were dudes. And I mean, like, man, these guys can play. Man. They rushed for like 240 on us and threw for like 3 bills, I think. And it was just like, I mean, it was a shootout. It was like 40, I want to say 45-38 or something like that. It was crazy. And that was the first time, obviously, that I had known that Trey was commentating, and then full circle back to now. Now we're in the booth together. So it's kind of crazy, man.
It is kind of crazy, sort of a weird full circle. I mean,
Yeah.
retrospectively, that team was so good. I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, Lorenzo Taliaferro. I mean, they had like 5 NFL guys on that team. So,
Yeah, it was wild. And then their quarterback, that guy was like, I was he was like 5'9", but the dude was a stud. Like he
oh,
was
he's
a
stud for sure.
former option quarterback, and he ended up, I think, having the highest passing efficiency of any FCS quarterback that year. And I mean, we were the 8 seed and had a team from Carolina coming up here, and just they just yeah, they shocked us, man. That was wild. That was
Totally wild, man.
unfortunately on the wrong end.
Yeah. Well, between then and now, obviously you had an NFL career in between, and how long you been back in Missoula? It's been a couple years, right?
Yeah. So back we got back at the end of 19. Yeah, and when I got done, lived in the South for a couple years in Virginia and Tennessee while my wife was finishing some medical school stuff, and then now she works here at the hospital. And then after that, we moved back and coached some high school ball down there and helped out with some other stuff. And then happy to get back up this way though. But we've been back here now for shoot almost 7 years. So crazy how time flies.
So you've been around and you obviously been following it. So what do you think of just the way that I guess I'll start big picture. The FCS and the Big Sky have evolved over the last however many years since you got done playing.
It's crazy, and I mean, you and I talked about this a little bit before we started the show. Um, you know, originally, when we got back, it was very similar to how it was
Yeah,
when I had played, and now the days of the NIL landscape in the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years, and how that's changed things. It's drastically different. There's obviously similarities. I would just say that the continuity aspect of college sports has changed a lot. And it's been a long time since I've been in a locker room. I don't really know exactly what that's like. You talk to guys like Justin Green, who's the recruiting coordinator at Montana, and a few others, and they say, it's you get your team, and Coach Hauk said it this year. You get your team, you assemble your team um, every single year, and there's a lot of attrition, obviously. With that being said, though, it's it's changed a lot, but it's still Montana. It's still Montana football. The tradition has still permeated, and I think it's kind of hard to explain the tradition to someone who hasn't been around it. You have to experience it, and if you come to a game, you'll definitely know what you're seeing. It's not just the locker room. It's the people at the concessions. It's the people, who show up at their tailgates. It's all that's still well and intact, and it's just beautiful, man. It's just so cool to come back and see that every single Saturday.
Being in this industry since I was in college, one of the things I think we take the most pride in is Aspen Sound's been such a presence in Missoula for almost 40 years. The cool parts about our job is people always ask me, what do you do for a living? I sell foam, whether it's as simple as window tint all the way up to integrating a backup camera into a factory screen. I'm usually pretty excited about the options we can present.
Five Valleys Restoration, your view is our view, and what a beautiful view it is. We are proud to be locally owned, locally operated. We love our community here in Missoula and also the full Five Valleys that we do service. We give back to the community, we service our community, our kids go to school here, we live here, we play here, and we love it.
Montana specifically, they still have such a great thing
Yeah,
to recruit to, right? I mean, they have this unbelievable fan base and all this tradition. And yeah, I mean, I've been to football stadiums all over the place. I mean, I was just at Autzen Stadium. It's sweet. It's
yep,
Montana's better, man. I'm just saying it. Like Montana, in
yeah.
terms of like the craziness, the loud third downs and all that. I mean, it is second to none in the West. I've never been out east, to Michigan and Penn State and all that, but I mean, it is Montana's second to none out west. I just wonder what the balancing act is like though between okay, we have this great thing to recruit to, we can get elite talent,
Right.
but expressing that this is about something bigger than yourself to players, right? That's something you guys were so good at. Hey, I can't let down the guys that came before me. We got to
Right.
uphold tradition. That's the part where I'm like, I wonder how Coach Alka is going to do this because I mean that is like one of the defining parts of how he's built his programs over the years.
It is. And you look at, obviously, I haven't been in the doors of a North Dakota State. I have been in the doors of a Montana, and I've played with a lot of guys who have played for North Dakota State. And when we sit down and talk, the similarities of a North Dakota State and a Montana are, it's unbelievable how similar the two programs are. You have co one of the biggest things is coaching continuity. They usually always bring someone in who has a tie to the program, typically, and they're able to carry on that tradition and the expectations and the way things are done. Everyone has their own twist. That's one. Two, you get a lot of people who, I mean, there's no professional team. I mean, this is really important to them, and they grew up knowing who Montana is, knowing who the players are, knowing where they're from, what small towns they're from, and you start adding those things up, and it makes it bigger, and it's really hard to explain to someone who has never experienced it until you do come to a game and you see on third downs every single seat's empty because everyone's standing and just yelling, and it's not like that at every venue. It's not like that at every venue in the NFL. It's not like that at every venue in college. And you go to a Montana or North Dakota State, and it's like that. It doesn't matter if you're playing the number one team in the country or a Division II school, whether it's Ferris or Central Washington. And I mean, everybody's into it. It's like that every single week. I mean, look at the season ticket sales. I mean, it just doesn't, it just keeps building, and it's awesome. Um, so the only way I think that you can uphold that is to have continuity and have kids from the state and be able to hold on to the fabric of that and keep that going because those kids and those coaches know what it means. The community knows what it means, and that's not going to go away so long as you keep that continuity piece intact, at least to some extent, in my opinion.
No doubt, and it's going to be the balancing act that these FCS and Big Sky schools, especially in Montana, are going to have to go through here in upcoming years. Jordan Tripp joining us here on Nuanez now, ESPN Radio. So one just completely side question, but I wanted to ask you about this so bad. The state of college football now, we were talking about the Oregon game before we went on. I mean, the top 15 are different than everybody else. They're paying their rosters like they're,
Oh,
NFL
it's crazy.
squads. I mean, they were saying in the
A
press
$40
box,
million cap, a $45 million cap. They're spending $40 million a year on a roster
it's
in college.
crazy, man. So, given that that's now the state of affairs, and now you're seeing guys driving free trucks, you're seeing guys getting free stuff. They're getting all this stuff. Like when you were playing for the Griz got dinged for NCAA violations that amounted to like what? Eating
Hot
hot dogs.
dogs and cookies.
I mean, come on, man. Like
It's
stopping at the
crazy, man.
tailgate and eating a hamburger or whatever. Like it's crazy, man. I know you as a Missoula kid. I know that like your parents used to have people over and stuff, make people feel at home. My brother was playing for the Griz
Yeah,
day too, and it was always like this tisk, like you can't have you and your
yeah.
buddies over for a steak dinner because you might get in trouble or whatever. But now it's completely free for all. So what do you think of just the way that it's evolved?
I think so. We always thought this, and this is again my opinion as a former athlete. I don't think there's anything wrong with paying players, with paying athletes.
Right.
It's how you do it and what you add to it. I'm probably not the first person to ever say this. I highly doubt it. What I think, though, in my opinion, is it's the way and the avenues that you allow them to get paid. And again, you and I talked about this before the show. So, I mean, everybody's got one of these, and most people got social media, and most people, I mean, so the ability to have access to to an individual, to an athlete, is never shut off. And sometimes that can take place during the season from someone from within, someone from a different team, a recruiter, whatever it may be. And then you throw in the transfer portal aspect. So now you have the NIL and the transfer portal. Have one or the other. Don't have both of them, because then you get kids going through the portal for money rather than, if you want to pay kids, pay them. That's fine. But in my day when you played, and that makes you sound old, but you had to pick a university and typically you stayed there. It was extremely hard to transfer. You had to appeal it, and they had to grant your ability to transfer, not to lose eligibility, so on and so forth. So I think that athletes having the ability to make money is great. I was fortunate to live in Missoula. Your brother and I were fortunate to live in Missoula and play here. Um, Still, it's not like we were, able to rake it in and make all this money and just be okay. Like, we were still eating spaghetti, and it's like,
Right.
hey man, like, coach is telling you to gain weight. We got our strength coach telling us that there's dollar tacos at Taco Bell, and we're like, well, that's not that healthy, but we're eating tacos and drinking chocolate milk, and it's like, okay, we'll make it work. I mean, I remember talking to my buddies. They had here from California, got a $700 scholarship check. Rent was $400 or $500, so they had $250 the rest of the month to eat on. And by the end of the month, it's like, why are you losing weight? You're like, well, I don't got any money, man. So, I mean,
Right.
I mean, of course, it's good for players to be able to make money, and they're bringing in revenue to the university. And when you think of a prestigious, academic, well positioned university, they typically have good athletic programs. So pay the kids if they're bringing revenue and bringing, enrollment to your school, bringing viewership. Pay them. Be able to pay them. Don't allow them, though, to get sabotaged in so many different things where you're going to attack the ability to rob them of their dignity to handle adversity, to be able to go through other types of hardships and be able to work through things that you won't be able to, in my opinion, as much now because of the transfer portal for NIL. That's my opinion on that, and that's where it's changed so much, because I think players should be able to make money. It's just the way that they are, and you can't blame the kids. I mean,
How could you? Right.
how could you blame a kid if, you know, I don't care if you're from a well-off family or a family that has had absolutely nothing, and it's easy for a viewer to say, say this kid goes out and has, he's the Big Sky Conference, he has 15 sacks, he's first team All-American, and some team from SEC, Pac-12, Mountain West says, hey, we got $500,000 for you if you come sign here. You are crazy to tell me if you think any of these fans, if they were put in their shoes, who are so critical,
Exactly.
would say no. You're not going to say no. It's just, you can't blame the kid. You can't blame him. And I mean, it's just unfortunate.
Man,
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash one pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Man, it really is, because it puts the young men in such bad situations, or such trying situations, I should say.
It does.
I mean, like, I look at a kid like Raekwon Battle, who played basketball for the Cats a couple of years ago. He's from a reservation in Western Washington, grew up in total poverty, and then he gets first team All Big Sky a couple of years in a row, and then he gets offered like 350 grand to go to West Virginia, and like he told me, he's like, man, my whole family has never even had $350,000
In their life.
in their lives. So like, how am I going to say no? He's like, my mom's not even own a car, man. Like, how am I going to say no to this?
Yeah.
But then it's like, then he goes there, and then what happens afterwards, right? Like, what's the support like afterwards? Because
Yeah.
he made it to the G League, but he didn't make it to the NBA. It's a weird situation, man. We could talk about this on a different different time.
I know we could. It's crazy. The educational piece of that is just, I mean, even fast forward 4 years, I mean, they had the same issues in all of professional sports after
Right.
college. Guys
Right.
that get paid a bunch of money. Anybody watches Pat McAfee's show, he talks about it all the time. He's like, I was fortunate enough to get a second contract. I can't tell you how many vets I talked to that said I was fortunate enough to get a second contract because if it would have been a one and done,
Right.
like I would have been on the streets, man. Like it's just the educational piece and like Pat says, it's like you're playing with monopoly money. Like nobody understands what it is. Like you're 18, 19 years old, you're coming at 17, coming out of high school, and somebody says we got $1 million for you, or some late string guy at an FBS school that we were talking about. I won't say who or what, but it's like, you're going to offer him this much money. I mean, how can you say no to that?
It's crazy, man. It totally is. We'll hash out this out
Yeah,
in a deeper
without a
conversation. But
doubt.
ESPN Roundtable, Jordan Tripp joining us here on Nuanez now. Okay, so let's talk about the here and now then. Griz have their opener on Saturday. So I guess first to start with, what do you think of the Griz? I'm sure you've gotten a chance to catch up with Coach Halk and various other assistants on the squad. I'm sure you got a chance to see them in action a little bit. So what's your evaluation right now of the Griz?
That's one fortunate thing and you could say this too, when you're around the game, and I haven't been around it forever, but a large part of my life I have, and you start to see coaches from other teams and coaches you've been with come around, whether it's a coach you played with or a coach that was in the NFL or a coach in college, and a lot of them have found their way back to Montana, some to other places in the Big Sky Conference, some to other places outside of the conference. So it's just interesting to see their scheme and their thought processes, and then kind of what they bring to the university. And I think that Montana this year has definitely upgraded. Nothing against previous teams. I think that they've gotten some saltiness, so to speak, a little bit more seniority on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's really good with the system that they have. It's a little bit more complex to begin with. There's a lot of moving parts. I think that'll be good. I think that their team speed is faster. I think that physically they're a lot bigger and stronger. And coaching wise, there's a lot of continuity there. So I think that's a plus. It's going to be interesting to see on the offensive side of the ball with the turnover that they've had. On the outside, I think inside that they look pretty good. On the offensive line, time will tell on that. This is nothing against any other position on the field, but that is one position that you cannot replace. I mean, the O-line is about as important as as it gets. And on the quarterback side, I hope Kaylee puts it together this year. And I know that they brought in Jensen, who is extremely talented, and Flowers is talented. And I know Coach Halk, he loves competition, man. So it'll be interesting to see what his plans are. I know Kaylee's number one on the depth chart, and it shows Jensen number 2 right now. I wouldn't be shocked to see either two of those and have them compete early. I really like Kaylee Yato. I don't know what other people think. My personal evaluation of him is pretty bold, I would say. I think he is as talented as anyone we've ever had here at quarterback. Now he's just got to put it together. I mean, his legs and his ability to throw the ball is special. He's got an extremely fast release, and he could be really, really good. So I would like to see him put it together because I think it could be really special. And the running back room is just loaded. I mean, it's about as loaded as it's been, I think, since Lex and Justin were here, to be completely honest. So it's going to be fun. I think that their ceiling is extremely high, and they got a lot of potential. Now it's just up to putting it together and playing together. So long answer for you.
No, I love it. Thanks so much for listening to the Big Sky Breakdown podcast series and for tuning into our Skyline Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to both the podcast and all your various podcast hosted networks and to the YouTube channel as well. Thanks to our great partners, including Ryan Miller and Coburn Law. Ryan Miller and Coburn are ace attorneys, each with different expertise. Paul Ryan, the master when it comes to DUIs. Angie Miller, excellent in medical malpractice. Abigail Coburn, federal drug charges. She's the one you want defending you. They can help in any and all sorts of criminal defense cases. They have a live answering service that's available 24 hours a day, 406-542-2233. You can also visit rmcattorneys.com. Ryan and Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys. Let's hear from RMC right now. Tell me about the expansion. You have now two partners. Angie's been with you for a while, but now Abigail joins the team as well. So just tell me about how this has all been going.
Really exciting about both of them, starting with Angie, who's came to us before she even started law school. And she's just developed into such an amazing attorney and person and friend, frankly. I can't be more happy with her and her results. She's such a hard worker and a fighter, and we're just so pleased to have her carry the torch into the future. And then with regard to Abigail, another great story. She had interned for our office when she was going to law school, and then after she graduated, she did other things. And then we were really fortunate. It was a chance meeting at the courthouse, and everything just came together. And the timing was right for her, and the timing was right for us to bring her on. And she's been amazing. She is such a tough attorney, and she takes on very, very difficult cases, and her results are amazing. And it's just a perfect fit for all of us.
No, I love it. I totally agree with you on Ayat. I just wrote a long story about him and sort of my observations from fall camp, because I think there's a lot of stuff that you can teach, a lot of stuff that you can learn, and I think there's a couple things that you can't teach. And I think he has a couple of the things he can't teach. Like he's got some authentic moxie to him, and he also, like you were saying, the way he just can get it out of his hands. He throws darts like an NFL guy. I'm not saying he has an NFL arm, but he has like that thing where he can just get it out real quick. And that's such a huge advantage, against whoever you're playing against. So last thing for you, can have any pregame rituals or anything like that headed into this first broadcast? Or what's sort of your mindset going into a game day for the first time as a broadcaster?
It's funny. So in the best way possible, I'm treating it in a hybrid format like I would if I was playing, with the addition of like a self scout. So Montana is getting evaluated the same way whoever they're playing. Been able to track down a little Central Washington tape and watch them, and obviously I know and I do know Mike Ferreter and what he's going to bring to the table in terms of his offense. He's going to have a lot of interesting 10 personnel spread stuff. I know that he's going to be, hopefully he watches this, he'll definitely be good for a gadget in the first half. Out of the gate. And interesting to see what they're going to try to do to steal a possession. And then, I think just from a ritual standpoint, I'll get down on the field. You always want to look and see the players that you've evaluated during the week, during a warm up, and then get up there and have your notes, have your board, have everything ready to go, and maybe go through it a few times and let her fly. It'll be fun though. So that's gonna be the extent of my ritual. Get down, get my morning workout in, and get down there and go watch the guys warm up, and get up to the booth, and get ready to rock and roll.
The debut of this man on the TV coming at you on Saturday night. Griz kick at 6. Pregame probably starts 5:15, 5:30 for you guys?
Yeah. Pregame will start at 5:35, I believe.
Okay, nice. So you can find Trey Bender and Jordan Tripp on the call with Central Washington coming to Missoula. Thanks for doing this, man. This is fun catching up, and
thanks
on Saturday, man.
Yeah, hopefully we can get out here and do this more often, maybe do a little weekly recap type deal, so it'd be fun.
Meeting her stopped your world. The ring you give her should stop her heart.
Tina, will you marry me?
Not again! Don't worry, I'm gonna fix this. Because we want to be your jeweler on our beautiful diamond! Clear! Come back to me, Tina! Are you okay?